Daniel Negreanu is looking down at King 10 offsuit.
So I guess we'll be seeing you after you win the NAPT passport.
Yes.
Like, seems like a lock right now.
You're probably going to end up around 400,000 is my guess.
You know what, now that would be a nice payday. That would be acceptable.
Preflop initiates a battle between two generations of poker excellence. Negreanu, the master of small ball and post-flop maneuvering, opens the action to 1,200 with King 10 suited. It is a standard open for Negreanu, designed to play a wide variety of boards and out-navigate opponents later in the hand. Scott Seaver, a representative of the math-heavy aggressive school of poker, looks down at King Jack offsuit. From a theoretical standpoint, Seaver has a slight advantage here. His hand dominates Negreanu's range, particularly the exact hand Negreanu is holding. However, Seaver chooses to flat call rather than 3-bet.
Have you been watching?
Tony folds, up to Viffer.
Wow. I would never fold this hand, but the new and improved Daniel?
Folds.
The new Daniel. There's a new version.
3.0.
Yeah. Just wait till I lose.
By just calling, he keeps Negreanu's range wide and uses his position to control the size of the pot, avoiding a scenario where he isolates himself against a stronger hand like Ace-King or a big pocket pair. True to his aggressive nature, Negreanu fires a continuation bet of 2,000. He is telling a story that he holds a hand like Ace-Queen or a set, trying to deny equity to hands exactly like Seaver's. Scott goes nowhere. He has a piece of the board and position on the opener. The turn brings the ace, a miracle card for Negreanu. He leads out for 6,200, betting for value with the current nuts. Seaver, staring at third pair and possible gut shot straight, decides to just smooth call. Raising here might balloon the pot and isolate Seaver against stronger hands. By calling, Seaver keeps the pot manageable and can make a decision when he sees whether the river is favorable to him or not. The river card is the 10, and it is the great equalizer. Here, Negreanu makes a signature move. Checking is a deceptive play designed to induce a bluff or a value bet from a worse hand, like 2-pair or a set of queens. He is hoping Seaver interprets the check as weakness or a give up. Seaver, seeing the check, decides to go for thin value. Negreanu, having trapped his opponent, snaps it off. The showdown reveals the irony.
Had you for a minute.
Yeah.
Hard to hold off Scott Seaver.
Yeah, King Jack. I'm getting at least half.
Did he say King Jack or King?
Helmuth is looking down on pocket kings. Pre-flop, this is a classic clash between raw power and disguised strength. Tony G opens light, Mercier flats on the button with pocket threes, and Helmuth in the blind wakes up with kings.
Raise pot.
His raise to 8,600 is a big, old-school squeeze sizing that tries to punish Tony's wide open and isolate one player. When Tony gets out of the way and...
You got a couple of hundred on and I'll play every time pre-flop. Why don't you add some more money on, Phil? I'll give you a flip every time then. See what sort of a genius you are then.
Mercier calls, the dynamic is already set. Phil has defined his range as extremely strong, while Jason has a capped, small pair suited connector, looking range that wants to see flops and play poker post-flop. The flop comes down a nightmare texture for Phil, 9, Queen, 3, all clubs. Mercier absolutely smashes it with bottom set on a monotone board, while Phil's overpair is in danger of being dead against any made flush or set. The turn pairs the queen, giving Mercier a full house and freezing a lot of Phil's perceived flushes. Jason checks again, continuing the trap. Now Phil feels safer. Paired boards mean fewer flushes and more chance his overpair is best. So he fires 7,000 as a delayed c-bet that targets exactly hands like tens, jacks, or a bare club. Mercier springs the trap with a raise. That line screams polarized, either a queen, a big flush, or a bluff. With kings and the king of clubs, Phil decides to hang on and call, planning to reevaluate rivers. The river brings a fourth club, completing every possible flush and leaving full houses at the absolute top. From Mercier's seat, this is perfect. The story he has told of a strong queen or big flush is still completely consistent, and his actual hand, a full house, comfortably beats both. He jams, ripping in the rest of his stack.
Come on, what in the heck is going on here? This is ridiculous.
This is what happens to me when I play in these frickin' cash games.
Now you're back to yourself. That's better.
I couldn't hold it in.
I was worried I lost you.
God, this is so brutal. Jason's betting big here, having a pretty good idea Phil's got a premium hand. How much is it?
67.9.
Phil folds.
That's a one we ought to show. Phil gets away from it and saves himself almost 70 grand.
Felt like a sick bluff, sir. Sick. Or pocket nines. Either or.
God, that's so brutal. Could have been worse. If I bet the flop, I'd just ship it with him.
Who wants to?
Tony G is looking down on King 4 suited. Pre-flop this pot starts out as a fairly standard multi-way situation that quietly plants the seeds for a brutal cooler. Harlow opens with ace-9, Antonio peels in position with king-jack, and Tony G overcalls with king 4 suited. From Tony's side, this is loose but very on-brand. He is in there to play pots, especially deep stacked and in position on an amateur opener. Behind them, the blinds come along, and you get exactly the kind of bloated, almost family pot where dominated kings and weird suited holdings collide.
Here he comes. You've been quiet, Phil. Preserving your lead.
Not really. I check.
The flop texture massively favors the kind of speculative, wide calling range Tony brought to the pot. He flops top and bottom 2 pair, while Antonio hits what looks like a very strong top pair with king-jack. After Hellmuth and Harlow check, Antonio's continuation bet for 4,200 into the field is completely logical. He charges draws, gets value from worse kings and tens, and represents the strong pre-flop range he had by flatting the raise in position. Tony's raise to 15,000 is the key inflection point. With 2 pair on a coordinated board, he wants to punish exactly hands like Antonio's, forcing them to pay a premium to continue. The raise size is big enough to thin the field and make life uncomfortable for single-pair hands, but not so huge that it blows them off. Hellmuth and Harlow correctly get out of the way. Antonio, holding top pair with a strong kicker and some backdoor straight equity, is never folding to a single raise and makes the call, likely putting Tony on king 10, a bluff, or some kind of combo draw.
What do you have left?
Antonio checks.
You want exact count?
No, it's fine.
And Tony's decision to check back is deceptively strong. With 2 pair on a now even scarier board, betting again would inflate the pot against a range that has improved to many strong 1 pair plus draw hands. The river ends the hand in one swing. It gives Tony a full house, kings full of 4s, and upgrades Antonio from a strong but beatable top pair to trip kings with a big kicker. After checking twice, Antonio now leads 20,000. This is a classic value bet sizing, targeting exactly the kind of hands he thinks Tony might have slow played, queen 10 or maybe a stubborn king 9 that check turn for pot control. Tony's response is a cold-blooded shove, an enormous raise over the river stab that polarizes his range to absolute monsters or air. In theory, that sizing should make Antonio very suspicious. There are not that many natural bluffs that take this line, and the full house region is heavily concentrated in Tony's loose pre-flop range. But in practice, when you have trip kings with a strong kicker, have seen your opponent check back a dangerous turn, and the pot is already large, folding feels almost impossible.
What the hell did you check the turn with, Tony? All right, call.
Antonio calls all in and sees the bad news.
I see.
Tony wins a pot of 150 grand.
Chips? The worst.
Vanessa Russo is looking down on pocket aces. Pre-flop, this looks like a routine spot that secretly sets Vanessa up for maximum pain. She opens to 1,000 with aces, the dream starting hand, and gets flatted by Lex on the button with king 4 of clubs. Suited king in position versus a single raise is completely standard for him. He is not trying to make a monster. He is trying to play pots and lean on people post-flop. What Vanessa sees is a competent pro calling wide on the button. What she does not see is that this exact hand shape is built to crack an overpair on a low paired board.
Right here? This is the weird spot?
No, the hand, that hand's the weird spot.
The flop comes king 4-3. For ranges, this is a disaster for Vanessa and a celebration for Lex. She still has the overpair advantage in theory, but in practice his flatting range includes all the suited king X and random sets. He decides not to get fancy and leads 2,500, a small, confident attack that says, "I connected." With top and bottom pair, he is miles ahead of all her one-pair hands, yet still vulnerable to overpairs and bigger kings, so betting to define the hand and start building a pot is perfect. The turn brings the queen, which is one of those cards that helps the aggressor's story more than it helps anyone's actual hand. From Vanessa's perspective, it is a brick. From Lex's seat, it is time to defend from the possible king-queen. When he fires 7,700, he is saying, "I still have it, and this board keeps getting better for me." With top and bottom pair, he is now comfortably ahead of every overpair. The only real disasters are sets or slow-played king-queen. Vanessa again just calls. That second call is very telling. She is no longer trying to protect aces. She is explicitly putting Lex on a king or a bluff and deciding to ride the hand down as a bluff catcher. The river pairs the 3, and that seemingly harmless card quietly locks in the cooler. Lex's kings and 4s are now counterfeited. When he bets 18,400 for the third time, the line is completely coherent.
Oh, sick river. Unbelievable.
Pretty good with these rivers with aces.
Tony G is looking down at 5-4 offsuit.
How does it go? Today is a good day.
Oh yeah, that's that was the Ice Cube song?
Yeah.
Preflop sets the stage for a classic clash between mathematical precision and pure chaotic feel. Scott Seaver opens the action to 1,200 with pocket queens. It is a premium hand that demands value. However, waiting in the wings is Tony G, a player who thrives on making his opponents uncomfortable with unorthodox holdings. Tony looks down at 5-4 suited.
Played a little ball, messed around, and got a triple-double.
A hand most players would muck against an early position raise and decides to make the call. He is looking to crack a big pair or outplay Seaver on a low board.
What did I just do there with my brain? Change my mind 4
That
times?
seems no good. Where's the confidence?
To the flop.
The flop comes a texture that appears safe for Seaver, but secretly connects with Tony's garbage hand. Seaver is trying to start the trap by inducing a bluff. Tony G is happy to oblige, firing 4,000 into the pot. Cannon, having missed completely, gets out of the way. Seaver, holding the overpair, makes the call. He is comfortably ahead of Tony's range, but by just calling, he allows Tony to see another card.
Here we go.
The turn card is the queen, a card that sends the hand into the stratosphere. By checking the turn, Seaver gives Tony a free roll to the river. He fails to charge the draw, assuming his set is invincible. The river is the ace, the most disastrous card in the deck for Scott Seaver. While it looks like a safe card that might have given an opponent top pair, Tony G, realizing he has backed into the nuts, fires a value bet of 10,000. Seaver now springs the trap he has been building since the flop. He check raises to 36,000, confident that his set of queens is the winner. He expects Tony to call with a worse set or 2 pair. When Tony G makes the call, the reality sinks in.
If it didn't come a flush, I would have got it all in. I mean, that's how sick is that?
How sick is that? How unlucky are you?
It was sick for one of them. Tony G happy to pick up that.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down at pocket 4s. Preflop begins with a sequence that illustrates exactly why Phil Hellmuth is the most frustrating player in the world to play against. Peter Jetton opens the action to 2,000 with ace-queen, a standard aggression from a young pro. Amit Makija, sitting with pocket kings, wakes up with a monster and puts in a textbook 3-bet to 6,000. In a GTO world, the action should end here for most marginal hands, but Hellmuth, holding pocket 4s in the small blind, decides to cold call the 3-bet. This is a move that math-heavy players despise. He is playing set or fold, out of position against a range that crushes him.
You might be the tightest player at the table, Lucky. What? I thought you'd be the most aggressive.
The best hand I had all night was 2 9s.
This is like Bizarro poker, man.
Jetton calls.
You're playing like Phil Hellmuth, and Phil Hellmuth's playing like you. I don't know what's going on here.
The flop falls low and connected texture that misses the pre-flop aggressor's high card range. but connects dangerously with the type of garbage hands Phil is known to defend. Here, Hellmuth deviates from standard strategy entirely. Instead of checking to the aggressor, he leads with a donk bet for 10,500. This bet is psychological warfare. He is effectively asking Makija, do you have an overpair, and are you willing to lose chips to find out if I have a set? Holding the kings, he cannot fold, but he also cannot raise without isolating himself against a set of 7s or 5s. The turn brings the 2, a card that adds significant equity to Phil's hand. He now holds a pair of 4s and an open-ended straight draw, needing an ace or a 6 to make a straight. Phil switches gears and checks, likely sensing that Makija is ready to fire. Feeling his kings are still ahead of a random pair or a draw, he bets 24,500 for value and protection. Phil's call here is loose. He is chasing a draw on a board where he could already be drawing dead to a set, but his stubbornness and perhaps a sense that the poker gods are with him keeps him in the hand. The river is the ace, the ultimate money card for Hellmuth. The dynamic shifts violently. Phil, having backed into the nuts, leads out for a massive
48.
From Makija's perspective, this is a nightmare. The ace is a scare card and connects with the board's runout. Furthermore, Phil's line lead flop, check call turn, lead river is incredibly strong.
Only Phil Hellmuth can look into your soul to know if you have it.
It represents a hand that was trapping on the turn and is now extracting maximum value. Makija looks at his pocket kings, which have now been downgraded to a mere bluff catcher.
Oh, Phil. It's a close spot. He's still trying to pick something up off of Phil. All right, Phil. You can show me a bluff.
AMAC folds.
If he was bluffing, he'd be smiling right now. So, believe me, he would love to show you that bluff.
If Phil Hellmuth was bluffing with his muffin, you could definitely read his poker face.